Hello and welcome to Passive Reconnaissance Part 2, the 7th video as part of our Red Team Fundamentals mini-series. In this video, we will be building upon what we learned in Part 1, where we discussed passive reconnaissance techniques targeting DNS and other network level information. Now specifically, we will be taking a look at a particular tool called Web-Check to gather intelligence of a target website. We will be collecting various information, mainly focusing on trying to understand the underlying technology stack, any security implementations and other website specific information, and by utilizing Web-Check we can perform this and much more. My name is Tennis, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like and feel free to join our Discord channel, for which a link to I've left in the description below, to keep up to date with our content, learn and progress as a cybersecurity expert. Now, we discussed the theory behind passive reconnaissance in the previous video, so we can immediately dive into the tool and its functionality. Now, as described by the developer themselves, Web-Check is a comprehensive, on-demand, open-source intelligence for any website. Essentially, it is a tool that you can use to perform various OSINT techniques for a given website. So if we actually take a look down here below, you'll get a little bit more information about what this tool is, what its dashboard, for which we'll get into shortly, will display. You've got IP info, SSL chain, DNS records, for which we covered in the previous video, open ports, trace trail, and much more. Now, if you take a look here below, this is typically the type of output you'll be seeing. We'll get into this output shortly, but it's very comprehensive as it outlines a significant amount of information of a given website. Now, one of the things previously, that we discussed, with the previous tools such as Subfinder, some of those, some of the functionality as part of the tool required API keys. Now with Web-Check, it is a little bit different. You don't really need any API keys. You can provide them if you want to. You've got Google Cloud API key, and it provides you with the actual key here and the location where to get it. So this can enrich the data that Web-Check can return, but typically it works immediately out of the box. Now, one thing to note about this tool, unlike the others that were used, is that this tool can be considered semi-passive. Now, what I mean by that is that this tool performs several different checks that are in between the line of active and passive. So for instance, if we go into the backend code, some of the features where you can find an API here, and there's a specific there's a specific check here that I want to highlight. Now this particular check performs a port enumeration by essentially creating a socket for these ports defined here, and by creating a socket directly with the target domain, it can raise some concerns or raise some eyebrows with the blue team, as some of these ports here might be ports that the organization has, have never even used before. So just keep that in mind. Certain functionality of this tool is active or quote unquote active, but then some of the features here, such as quality here, will use public APIs to basically fetch information. So this is exactly what I mean. This tool is considered passive, but there are certain aspects of the tool that are essentially active. Now, before we continue, it's worth mentioning that, if we are performing checks for, open ports, in this case, it would be best to use a proxy and save the results as output, because if we perform these checks constantly, we'll be hitting these ports several times, which again, might raise some eyebrows. So just keep that in mind. Use proxies where possible and save your output. Now, there are several ways in which we can deploy this tool. If we actually go into Google and type in Web-Check, there's actually a public website for which you can perform the enumeration directly from the website. So this essentially acts as a middleman, directly sending requests without you having to. So let's just verify us as human here. And you see, you can provide a domain here such as HackerForce HackerForce.io if you wanted to, but then also, you can deploy Web-Check via Netlify or Versal. Now, Netlify and Versal will require accounts, so the option that we will use is Docker. Now, you will require Docker installed, and it doesn't come as part of Kali Linux, but I'll leave a link in the description below for where you can follow a guide by Docker to install it. So just keep that in mind. You will need Docker to install and run this tool. So to deploy it, we'll just copy this command here. And essentially what this will do is it will download the Web-Check image, and it will automatically run it on port 3000. So if we copy this command here, paste it in our terminal, it will require sudo permissions here. So as you can see here, the image wasn't found locally, so it will proceed to download, and once it's downloaded here, it will be accessible via the link provided. Okay, so let's just copy that, go into our browser here and provide that link here, and there we go. We have a local Web-Check instance up and running. Now, as I said, all that is required is you providing a domain. So let's just close that. You've got various different, outlines here for what type of checks are supported. And I'll show you how to actually list all of these checks, what they do, what they perform, and why they actually may be useful. But before we do that, let's just provide HackerForce.io and click Analyze. So as you'll see here, numerous jobs will start to run, and a job is essentially a check being performed. Now, by clicking on Show Details here, you'll be able to see the specific check that was performed, the time that it took, also any errors that might have happened, in this case, the quality metrics check that is used to check the quality or the search engine optimizations of the target website failed. So when a check fails, you can simply use the show error option here, and it will display the error, which in this case, we're missing a Google Cloud API key. So to fix this error, we would typically provide the API key, but again, that's optional really, and we could retry the check if we wanted to. Now, 29 of the jobs were successful. So if we actually close this down and go down here, it is where we will find all of the juicy info. Now, as you can see, there is a lot of information. We've got the information about where the server is located. In this case, the server is in United Kingdom. Its time zone is Europe, London. And then also you've got a cool little mini map here showing you a visualization of where the server is. Additionally, we've got SSL certificate information, so it gives you information about, who the subject is, who the certificate authority or who the issuer is, when the certificate expires, when it renews, and various other information. Also here, we've got DNS records, so, you've got the A record, you've got the CNAME record, all the name servers of a domain, you've got the name server record. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually correct, because the name server is actually meant to be these values up here. These are, I believe, TXT records. So I'm not sure if that's just a bug, or maybe that's just, maybe I'm just not reading it correctly. But these will be the name servers. That is not the CNAME record, these, by the way. So just keep that in mind. Additionally, you've got the headers. You've also got HTTP security information, so you can see what type of security is being implemented via HTTP. Additionally, here I like to look at, because it shows you a nice diagram of the trace route for which the requests go through to reach the target server, and much more. So you've got a lot of information here. You can actually check if a firewall is actually enabled. So this is a really good check. So I suggest that, you actually have a look through this yourself, have a look through all of the values here, because it really, really is useful having this, all of this information kind of grouped into one central location. Now, if you're ever confused about what a specific check performs, you can simply use this little eye or information icon here, and it will provide you with a little bit of information about what the specific check performs, any use cases. In this case, there aren't any. You've also got an example here, so if we actually select a different one, maybe firewall, there you go. So it's useful to understand if a site is using a web application firewall, because it provides an insight into the site protection against several attack vectors. So, having a web application based firewall, in this case, we've not got any. So, vulnerabilities or exploiting vulnerabilities might be a little bit more easier than if there was one. You've also got links here, describing what is a web application firewall, some examples here again. So this is useful. Always ensure, if you don't understand anything, you can just list this information icon here, and it will tell you more information about the specific check. Now, if we scroll down here a little, remember I said that, after performing your checks, especially if you are performing these checks from a local instance, rather than, performing these checks constantly, you should always download your results for later viewing. So you can download your results by selecting download results here. You can also view these results using JSON Hero, third-party service. But by downloading it, we have a local copy of the checks that were performed. Now, one of the last things of this tool that I want to showcase you here is the external tools for further research. And essentially all that this provides is various third-party services for which you can implement to perform other searches. So in this case, you've got VirusTotal here, and if you have a look at the bottom left corner, you'll see that it is already, or the search is already pre-filled with our target domain. So if we click on VirusTotal here, it will automatically provide the domain here. You'll be able to use VirusTotal to further explore the domain. So it's really useful. There's a lot of information. As I said before, have a look, at all of this information yourself. Have a look at the data that you can harvest, because it is a lot. Maybe even set up some API keys as well, and try to understand the tool a little bit better, because, it will only make you a better OSINT operator. Now, one of the last things I want to showcase you here before we wrap up is the features section, which you can view at the link for which I'll provide in the description below, of all the supported features of Web-Check. And most of these features, if you, click on these, for instance, headers, it will provide you a description, the use case, and any useful links of it. Now remember, we were able to access this via this information icon, but this is just useful to have as a reference as well. So I'll leave a link to it in the description below, so you can, go check it out for yourself. And that summarizes up the video. We were able to use Web-Check to, use it as a tool that, gathered information from various third-party services and kind of congested everything into one. And by using Web-Check, we were able to, find out a lot of information about the target website. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to drop a like. And remember, you can also join our Discord server, whether you might want to chat, contribute, maybe leave some feedback, because that is always useful. And I hope to see you in the next one.